Max never really liked dogs, but Jane's dog was different. Max had tried to be friendly, but no matter what he did, Bruno hated him. And Max never understood why, until their wedding night, when he walked in on them doing something unimaginable. It started with little things. The barking whenever he touched Jane. The deep growls when he leaned in to kiss her. Once, the dog even snapped at him in public. People laughed it off, called it jealousy, but Max didn't find it funny. The night before the wedding, Jane arrived at the luxury hotel by the beach. A black SUV pulled up slowly. The door opened. Out came Jane, dressed in white jeans and a flowing pink blouse, her face glowing with excitement, and right behind her, Bruno. Max stepped out of the hotel lobby with a wide smile. He had missed her. "Baby," he called out, opening his arms. She ran into them, and he kissed her cheek. But just as his lips touched her skin, "Grrr, woof, woof," Bruno lunged, grabbing the edge of Max's trouser in his teeth and yanking hard. His growl was low and threatening. Max stumbled back, shocked. "Bruno, no, stop it," Jane shouted, pulling at the leash with both hands. It took a moment to get him under control. Bruno finally stepped back, panting hard, but his eyes never left Max. "What is wrong with that dog?" Max snapped, breathing fast. "He almost tore my leg off." Jane looked embarrassed. "I am really sorry. He's just overprotective." "That is not overprotective, Jane. That is aggressive. Every time I kiss you, he acts like this. It is like he hates me." Jane sighed, brushing her fingers through her hair. "I don't know what to say. He is not like this with anyone else. Just you." Max folded his arms. "Maybe because I am the one marrying you tomorrow." Jane tried to smile, but something flickered in her eyes. Something strange, almost nervous. She looked down at Bruno, then back at Max. "Let's not talk about Bruno tonight, please. Let's just focus on us." But Max couldn't stop thinking about it. As they walked into the hotel, Bruno followed behind them. His nails clicked loudly against the floor tiles, each step firm and slow, like he was marching behind an enemy. Later that evening, Jane and Max sat in the hotel lounge, sipping wine and going through the wedding plan one more time. Jane looked relaxed, but Max kept glancing at Bruno, who was lying quietly near her feet, eyes half closed but still watching. That night, Max slept in a separate room as tradition demanded. But around midnight, he realized he had left something in Jane's room. His watch, the one her father had gifted him. He didn't want to call her and wake her, so he decided to quietly tiptoe in and pick it up. He had a spare key card. He used it. The hallway was silent, cold. He reached her door, paused for a second. He heard something, Jane's laughter, from the inside room. Her voice was clear through the door. She was talking on the phone. "Can you believe that Max said he doesn't want Bruno around after the wedding?" Jane laughed hard. "He thinks Bruno is just too aggressive toward him." Max raised an eyebrow, confused. He lowered his hand slowly. Jane kept talking. "He doesn't even realize Bruno is just jealous. That dog thinks I am his baby. He doesn't want to share me with anyone." More laughter, playful, carefree. But then the words that followed hit Max like a punch to the stomach. "You know, Max is always busy with work, and he can't even satisfy me like Bruno does." Max blinked. "What?" His mouth slowly fell open. He took a step back from the door. His heart started beating faster. Too fast. Inside the room, Jane kept talking, her voice growing, softer but sharper. "He's too weak, too boring. If it wasn't for his money, I would have never stayed this long." Mark's hands began to sweat. His throat went dry. I will marry him, Jane said coldly. Then I will divorce him and take half of everything. That is the plan. Max felt the blood drain from his face. His legs almost gave way. And once that is done, she added with a dreamy sigh, I will go straight to Edwin. He is the only man I have ever truly loved. Crash! His phone slipped from his hand and hit the hallway floor. He stood there staring at the door, as if it had turned into a wall of fire. His whole world was burning behind it. The woman he loved, the wedding he dreamed of, all of it a lie. Inside the room, Jane laughed again, but outside, Max's heart was breaking. His groomsmen came looking for him and found him standing helplessly at Jane's door. They asked what was wrong, but he didn't respond. Williams, his best man, grew more concerned and urged him to open up, but he remained silent. Without saying a word, he slowly turned and walked back to his room, tears welling up in his eyes. He did not sleep. He did not eat. He just sat there on the edge of the hotel bed, frozen in silence. The room was dim, the air heavy, with the weight of betrayal. His hands trembled, his eyes bloodshot from hours of silent weeping. The laughter, the dreams, the promises, they all felt like lies now. Each time he closed his eyes, her voice echoed like a curse. I will marry him, divorce him, and take half his money. Max can't satisfy me like Bruno does. Edwin is the one I truly love. Those words carved into him like knives. It was not just heartbreak. It was devastation. Who was this woman he had loved so blindly? How could someone hide so much darkness behind a gentle smile? Then came the wave of shame, colder than heartbreak. The wedding was just hours away. His mother had flown in. His brothers were already dressed. The venue had been decorated with care. Thousands spent, plans made, expectations built. And now this. How could he walk out there and tell them the truth? How could he say, she is not who I thought she was? Would they believe him or think he was running from commitment? With a low, trembling sigh, Max dropped his head into his hands and wept like a man undone. Not just for the love he lost, but for the dream that had shattered before it even began. Morning came. The sun rose like nothing had happened. Birds were singing. Cars moved outside. Life was normal for everyone except Max. Inside his hotel room, it was still night. He had not slept. He had not eaten. He just sat in silence, staring at the floor. His heart felt like a heavy stone. His face was calm, but his eyes were empty. Not a single tear fell that morning, but that did not mean he was not crying inside. When the groomsmen came knocking, he got up quietly, showered, shaved, wore his suit. He looked like a groom, but he did not smile. Are you okay? Williams asked. I am fine, Max replied. But he was not. Everyone could see it, but no one could name it. They arrived at the wedding hall. It looked like a fairy tale. Everything was perfect, except the groom. Max walked in cold, quiet and distant. No smiles, no greetings. He walked straight to his seat at the altar and sat down like a statue. His eyes never blinked. His hands did not move. He was there, but not really. Minutes later, the bride arrived. Jane walked in like a princess from a dream. Her white gown sparkled. Her bouquet was full and bright. She smiled proudly as people clapped and stood to watch. Cameras flashed. Someone whispered, She looks like a queen. Jane got to the altar and sat beside Max. She leaned in close, smiling. "You look handsome," she whispered sweetly. But Max did not answer. He did not even look at her. Her smile slowly faded. The officiator stood, ready to begin. But just as he opened his mouth, Max raised his hand. "Wait," he said calmly. Everyone turned to look. "I have a surprise for my bride-to-be," Max said. There was clapping. Some laughed, expecting something romantic. Jane smiled again. She loved surprises. Max walked up slowly, took the microphone, and stood in the center of the hall. His hands didn't shake. His voice was steady. But behind his calm, there was fire burning quietly. He turned and gave a small signal to the media team at the back. They paused. The one of them pressed play. The music stopped. The hall became still. You could hear a pin drop. Then came a voice that cut through the air like a knife. "Max is always busy with work, and he can't satisfy me the way Bruno does. Honestly, I am only marrying him for his money. I will divorce him later and take half. Edwin is the one I truly love." Gasps filled the room. Hands covered mouths. Phones dropped. Women shook their heads in disbelief. Some guests stood, frozen. Others whispered in shock. "That is Jane's voice. Oh my God." Jane stood there, her mouth open, her skin pale, her hands trembled. Her legs felt weak. She looked down, ashamed. She couldn't look at anyone. The hell felt like it was closing in on her. Max stayed still. He didn't move. He did not blink. Slowly, he reached into his pocket and pulled out dark sunglasses, not for style, but to hide the tears that were finally coming. Jane took a small step backward. She couldn't breathe, and then she fainted. Right there in front of everyone, but Max didn't go to her. He did not even flinch. He adjusted his glasses, took a deep breath, and walked out of the wedding hall like a man who had just escaped a trap. The moment he left, the hall exploded. People stood, shouted, gasped. Some chased after him. Others stayed, still in shock. The chairs were knocked over. The flowers were ruined. But no one cared anymore. Back home, Max opened the door slowly. The silence inside was loud. He walked in, closed the door behind him, and dropped to the floor. Still in his suit, still wearing his pin. And then he cried. Not soft tears, not small sobs. He cried like a child, like a man who had just lost everything. His body shook. His chest ached. His face buried in the pillow. His heart was in pieces. Outside, people came. Friends, family. They knocked. Max, open the door. Please, bro, talk to us. But he did not move. He just lay there, broken, silent. Days passed. He did not eat. He did not talk. Did not leave the house. The audio kept playing in his head, over and over. Her words, her laughter, the betrayal. He kept asking himself, why me? What did I do wrong? Weeks passed. The sun came and went. But inside his world stayed dark. No light, no peace. Then one day, he sat up, weak, tired, but something had changed. His eyes no longer looked lost. They looked ready. She broke me, he taught me, but I won't stay broken. She took my love for granted, but I will rise again. And one day, I will make sure she feels every bit of pain she gave me. And with that, Max stood up, not as the man who got hurt, but as the man who would never be fooled again. Max left without a word. No note, no farewell, just silence. After the wedding scandal, after the betrayal that turned his name into gossip, Max vanished. The news spread fast. The groom who got played. People laughed. Some pitied him, but it all felt the same to him. Noise. So he escaped. He found a quiet town by the hills, a place without luxury or headlines. He rented a small room above a bakery, wore plain shirts. No one knew who he was, and that was the point. Each day, he sat outside the shop, sipping tea, watching the world go by. Then one morning, as he crossed the muddy road, a car flew past and splashed dirty water all over him. Soaked and speechless, he stood still. The car screeched to a stop. A young woman rushed out. "I am so sorry. I did not mean to. Please wait." She grabbed tissues and started wiping the mud from his sleeves. "It is fine," he said, surprised by her care. But she did not leave immediately. "I am Grace," she said softly. "I hate ruining someone's day." "I am Max," he replied quietly. She smiled. "Then maybe I will fix it someday." She got back in the car and drove away. Days turned into weeks, and Max couldn't stop thinking about her. The stranger, with soft eyes and a gentle voice. He did not know her name, but her kindness had stayed with him like a quiet memory. Then, one sunny Saturday afternoon, he walked out a small local mall, carrying a bag of groceries. Just as he had stepped outside, his feet froze. There she was, the same girl, standing a few meters away, laughing with a friend. She wore a simple cream dress, her hair tied in a loose bun. She looked even more beautiful than he remembered. Max's heart raced as he stepped forward, almost afraid it was not real. She turned, and their eyes met. "Oh, it is you," she said, surprised, her smile blooming instantly. "I did not think I would see you again," Max said, trying not to sound too excited. They both laughed, a little shy, a little unsure. "This is my best friend Sonia," she said, gesturing beside her, "and I am Grace." "I am Max," he said, smiling. "Nice to finally meet you properly, Grace." They talked for a few minutes, nothing too deep, just light and easy. But the connection was there, genuine and quiet. And as they said goodbye that afternoon, Max walked away feeling something he had not felt in a long time. After the surprise meeting at the mall, Grace and Max began seeing each other more often. At first, it was simple coffee dates, long evening walks, sitting under trees in the park talking about life. Max still did not say much about his past. He spoke quietly, listened more, and smiled often. But there was always something deep in his eyes, like he had seen pain he did not want to talk about. Grace did not push. She just cared. She was kind, soft, and never asked for more than he could give. Slowly, something beautiful began to grow between them. Max found peace in her presence. For the first time in a long while, he did not feel broken. He felt understood. But not everyone was happy about it. Grace's best friend, Sonia, did not like Alex. From the moment she saw his simple clothes and the second-hand phone he used, she made up her mind. "He looks like he's struggling," Sonia told Grace one day. "You deserve better. You are too beautiful to waste your time. Sonia, it is not about money. Grace replied gently. Max is different. He treats me with respect. He makes me feel seen. Sonia rolled her eyes. That is easy to say when you are still in the talking stage. Wait till he starts asking you to help with the bills. Grace ignored her, but Sonia did not stop. She began introducing Grace to other men, wealthy, flashy, confident, men with cars, gold watches, and big promises. Grace smiled politely at them, but her heart was already taken. Max never tried to compete. He stayed the same, simple, consistent, kind. And that was what made Grace fall in love with him completely. One quiet evening, Max took her to a small garden with fairy lights. A violinist played softly nearby. The stars shined bright overhead. Max got down on one knee. Grace gasped, her hand over her mouth. He opened a small box and looked up at her with gentle eyes. I don't have a lot to offer, he said, but I promise you honesty, peace, and a heart that will never stop choosing you. Tears filled her eyes. Yes, she whispered. Yes, Max. They hugged tightly, the world disappearing around them. After the engagement, Max changed, but not in the way Sonia expected. One day, he invited Grace on a trip. They drove to the city in a sleek black car, one she had never seen before. They stopped at a luxury hotel. Are we staying here? She asked. Max smiled. Just for a few days. I want to show you something. In the days that followed, Max took her to places she had only seen in magazines. Fine restaurants, rooftop gardens, art museums, and fashion boutiques. He bought her a new phone, designer shoes, a gold bracelet. Grace was shocked. Max, how are you doing all this? He held her hand. I told you I didn't have much to offer. That was true at the time, but it was not because I was poor. I chose peace over noise. I needed to heal first. I wanted someone who loved me when I had nothing, not because of what I had. Grace covered her mouth in disbelief. So you have always had money? He nodded slowly. But I needed to know if your love was real. She hugged him tightly, tears in her eyes. It is. It always was. When Sonia saw pictures of the engagement ring and luxury dates, she was stunned. Her jaw dropped when she found that Max was not just an ordinary guy. He was the CEO of a tech startup in the city, quietly running his business from behind the scenes. I thought he was broke, Sonia whispered, shocked, and then she became jealous. She tried to act happy for her friend, but her heart was bitter. She had tried to push Grace away from Max, and now Grace had everything. I introduced you to richer guys, Sonia said one day, her tone sharp. Why didn't you listen to me? Because I was not looking for money, Grace replied. I was looking for love, and I found it. Their wedding day came faster than expected. It was beautiful. The hall was decorated with gold and white. Flowers hung from the ceiling like stars. A grand piano played softly in the background. Everyone was dressed in their finest. Grace walked down the aisle like a queen. Her gown shimmered. Her eyes sparkled with love. Max stood at the altar smiling. A different man now. Confident, peaceful, complete. The vows were exchanged. The rings slipped on their fingers. Everyone clapped. Laughter, tears of joy. But just as the reception started, Max excused himself to the restroom. On his way through the back hallway, of the hotel, he stopped. He had seen her, Jane. She was wearing a faded uniform, holding a mop. Her hair was tied back. Her face looked tired, older. She was cleaning the floor near the side exit. Their eyes met. Jane froze. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Her eyes dropped to the floor. Shame filled her face. Max did not move for a moment. Memories rushed back. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the pain. But now, none of it hurt. He had healed. He stepped forward. Jane flinched. But he only said two quiet words. I forgive you. Then he walked away, head held high, back towards the sound of music, laughter, and his new beginning. Jane stood there shaking. A single tear rolled down her cheek. Not for the man she lost, but for the woman she felt to be. Back at the hall, Max returned to Grace. She smiled and took his hand. Where did you go? She asked. Just closing an old door, he said, pulling her close. They danced slowly under the lights, surrounded by love. And as the music played, Max knew he had lost before, but this time he won. Not just love, but peace and a second chance. The beginning he never expected, with the woman who truly saw him. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. See you on the next one.